Hey Donna, how you doing? Hey, 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 hey. Woo! Man, this last episode, boy. I wasn't ready. I was not ready for this. Man, what did you think of the last episode, part 4? I was not ready. I'm up here still posting links on some of my social media pages. Making sure I put it on my Twitter and on my Facebook. And you guys remember I'm on Twitter, IG, Facebook, Tanya's Primetime TV, Media Reviews on Facebook and Twitter, and Tanya's Primetime TV on IG. So I do post, I post links and pictures and stuff on those social media sites. Yes, it was tense. Tense isn't even the word. I mean, I don't know why. I should have watched it last night. After I got off, from reviewing part 3 with you guys. Because, last night I told y'all I'm just going to watch part 4, tomorrow morning while I'm working from home. I'm going to watch part 4. And then, after work, get ready, for the review after I take my son to work and pick my other son up and come home and jot down some notes and then, be ready for the review. I'm telling you, I had to pause part 4 like so many times because I was watching it while I was working from home. And granted, I'm working from home. I'm still working. I'm still getting paid. I still have so much work I have to get done every hour. So many claims I have to process every hour. And I just found myself just getting emotional like almost every 5 minutes. Like the tears was just like out of nowhere. And I'm up here like trying to, how little kids be when they get a spanking or something, trying to suck it up and act like it don't hurt, trying to play it off. I was like at home by myself, like trying to, make the tears stop from falling. And I was like, wow, I wasn't ready. Somebody in the live last night told me that 4 was really, really hard to watch. And I was like, well, dang, after 1 and 2 and 3, I already knew, like, excuse me, let me get some water. Before, hold on. Whew. Before I even watched number 4, before I even watched episode 4, I just knew, like, that they were probably saving the best for last. Or what some might say, the worst for last. I just knew, just from the way it was leading up and how they were showing the boys and showing how they, were in prison and in jail and showing them on the outside and showing them, trying to get their lives back together and back on track. And I was like, where's Corey? Where's Corey? Where's Corey? And so I knew, like, number 4 has to be all about Corey. I just knew this before I even started watching it. And I had a feeling in my gut, like, number 4 isn't going to be good. I didn't know what to expect, but I knew that it was going to, like, okay, remember when I had said, most people have said that the person they felt the most sorry for was Corey, because Corey wasn't even there. He wasn't doing anything. I mean, none of the boys did anything, but Corey really wasn't even there. Like, mind-wise, mindset, his frame of mind wasn't even there. Even in some of the scenes in the show, like in part 4. He kept saying, I don't understand. Different times people is talking to him. I don't understand. I don't know what you mean. I don't understand. I don't know what you mean. What do you mean? What are you saying? I don't know. Like the same thing he was doing, like, through the trial when he was being interrogated. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. It was like he wasn't there. And nobody stood in the gap for him to make sure he wasn't tried as an adult. Again, he could have been tested. He could have been, scored on his mind level. I don't know the exact words for what they do to people to make sure they are able to stand trial, or if they should be tried as a juvie, even if they're 16 or 17, because of their mind frame. It was so messed up. That correctional officers, man. And the thing about it is, the stuff that goes on in there is so true, like so very true. Like I told y'all, I told my sons, promise me y'all watch this show 1 through 4. My oldest son is going to start watching it tonight with his girlfriend. His girlfriend watches his girlfriend is subscribed, both my boys are subscribed to my channel, but his girlfriend watches my reviews. And I said, yeah, make sure, when you watch it with your girlfriend, make sure she watched the review and stuff. And he was like, she already watches your stuff. So I'm like, okay, well, make sure, you watch it with your girlfriend if that's what you want to do. But again, I've been saying this over and over again. I think people should let their children, like their teenage children and their young adults, children, to watch this show. Hey, Lisa, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in tonight, hon. Because I think it's very important. I told my sons, I said, y'all need to know how to act when y'all around the cops. Y'all need to know what to do, what to not do, what to say, what to not say, what to ask for, what to not ask for. And then, like those prison scenes, what Corey was going through, this is like, none of that is like far-fetched from what really happens in prison. There are so many shady, grimy COs or correctional officers, COs in the prison system that are just as shady and janky as the inmates themselves. They be getting people killed, or they kill people, they rape people, they throw them in the solitary for no reason, they starve people, they beat people. Those COs, not all of them, but some of them COs in the prison system and in the jails, even in juvie, are just as corrupt as the system is. And it was so sad seeing him go through all that stuff. I wasn't quite ready for what I saw, but I knew what was coming. And I knew him being beaten. I even figured the boy might have even been sexually assaulted. And I do believe he has. And y'all let me know if y'all agree with me. Because all these actors, these kids actually worked with the real people. And the real people worked with the kids so that the kids could know what kind of mind frame they were in every part and every angle of this crazy situation. So I'm pretty sure the real Corey sat down with the young Corey and maybe not have told him everything that happened, but enough to make Corey know what happened. You know what I mean? I just kept thinking. They kept showing the beatings. They kept showing him getting beat. They showed when he got stabbed. They showed when the guards was taking his commissary. CO Roberts, the first CO that he had, when he went to the first prison, how he was taking his commissary and telling him he was gonna, how he kept saying, let me know if there's anything you can do for me. And when he first got there, he was like, huh? What? What you talking about? What? I mean, he was always acting like he was a little mentally challenged. Like, huh? What? What you talking about? Help you do what? I'm not even supposed to be here. I'm innocent. He's still pleading innocent, and not accepting any guilt. Even once he's, got prison, got his sentence and found out how much time he served, he still was not going to take responsibility for something he knew that he really didn't do. It was a mess. Donna said after all the 5 boys, they just brought Corey rape up. Yep. I believe it. I believe it. And I think the reason why they brought Corey's up is because, again, it's sad, but it happens. A little boy, I mean, 16-year-old boy, don't know nothing about jail, nothing about nothing, can't read. You just knew he was going to be abused when he got in there. You saw how much smaller he was than those people. Like, he was a little kid. And even when you saw the real pictures of the real Central Park 5, them kids were so little. Yusef was so skinny. The other two, Kevin and Antron, they was real short. And like, body frame wise, Corey was probably the biggest of them all, and he still was small, and shorter than, Yusef. So he had a small frame. They said he was 5'5" when he went in, and he weighed about 160, 65 pounds. That's small. And they put him there in that prison. Whew. I thank God for mercy, honey. I'm telling you. I watched that show while I was working from home. And then when I got off of work, I had to go pick up my oldest son, my 22-year-old. And I told him on the way home, I said, I really want to make sure you watch this show. He said, Mom, I'm going to watch it tonight. I told you I'm going to watch it tonight with my girlfriend. We're going to watch it tonight. And I was like, okay. I said, okay. And I was like, when you watch this show, after you finish number 4, you're going to realize why I was so hard on y'all a lot of times, and why I never allowed y'all to run the streets, and why I always call checking up on y'all, calling behind y'all. If you was at a parent's house, I'm calling that parent. If you said you were with a coach, I'm calling that coach. If you at practice, if you at work, sometimes I used to just call around. Hey, can I leave a message for my son? Call his job. Oh, well, he's busy. Oh, that's okay. I'll just see him when he get off. I used to do that. They'll tell you. Because I was one of those kids who ran the street. Once I got a teenager, after being raised in church and by a strict upbringing, and my mama not allowed me to have boyfriends, I couldn't go anywhere. The only place I could go was like church and school, or, follow her around to the store, to grandma's, to family members. My mom had a tight leash, around me. And once I got like teenager, and started junior high, it was all she wrote. And so I started hanging out in the streets, started hanging out with people I shouldn't be hanging around. Got in trouble every now and again. Some things I regret, and some things I'm like, okay, it taught me a lesson. But one thing I did a lot was lie to my mom and told her I was here when I was there. So, yeah. I stayed on them hard, and I told him, once you watch 1 through 4, you'll see what I was trying to keep you from. And they still young. God forbid they ever have to endure something like that. I like what Corey, was it Corey's mom? Or was it Yusef's mom? Was it Yusef's mom that kept saying, you watch them grow up? Like, every so often you would hear her saying that in each show. You watch them grow up. You raise them well. You teach them right from wrong. And then one night, you turn your head. It's like you could raise your kids the right way, put them in church, put them in sports, put them in band, put them in track, put them in ballet, whatever. And then one day, something bad could just happen out of your control. You said your son tells me that he gets on the bus. When he gets off, I'm not going to know everything, but I'm grateful for his openness because I was a trip. Girl, you... I was a trip when I was a little. And so when I was a trip when I was little. But, that ran through our family. Like, we had a lot of gang members, gang affiliations in our family, Bloods, Crips, Vice Lords. I could go on and on. We have a really large family here. Some of my family was Bloods, some of them was Crips, some of them was Vice Lords, some of them was GDs. I mean, when them 80s came through and all them gangs came from here and there and hit the Midwest, with the crack epidemic, everybody wanted to be in a gang. So I grew up around that in the hood. And so I was a trip back then. But when I grew up and had kids, I was a mama who was a trip. And I'm sure my sons can vouch for that. My mama was a trip. I'm like, yeah, because I know how the streets work. Ain't nothing new under the sun, honey. Ain't nothing new under the sun. Where I live right now was infested with gangs back in the day. Where I live right now, like a couple of blocks behind me, is a whole bunch of apartments. It was nothing but bloods. This whole area, nothing but bloods. I mean, deep. This was deep gang territory where I live now. And it's much better now. You know, I'm older now. You know, we have a lot less gangs. But, yeah, I grew up in the hood. So I know, honey. You said, oh, yeah, 80s was rough, and I'm from Pittsburgh. I was a mom at 20 and a trip. Honey, I was a mom at, how old was I, 23? Yeah, 23. And I thought I was doing good because all my friends, they was having babies at 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, you know. And that's one thing my mama could say. No matter what I was involved in, she always was like, every year when I had a birthday, at least my daughter ain't pregnant. At least my daughter ain't got no baby. At least my daughter ain't, you know, she always bragged about me not having no kids as a teenager. But that was because I was lucky. She don't know that. Lord rest her soul. She know now. But back then she didn't know that. I was lucky. There was plenty of times where I was praying to the Lord above that we served almost 7 days a week for years. Please don't let me be pregnant. Please don't let me be pregnant. Please don't. My mama's going to kill me. She going to kick me out like she always told me. God, please don't let me get kicked out. I mean, she didn't know none of that. So she thought I was this good old little girl. But yeah, it was crazy. I grew up quick. When I say my first son was my blessing, he was. He changed my whole life around. He took me off the streets, literally. My son literally was a blessing. God gave me him on purpose. Wasn't married, nothing like that. But he's grown now, 22 years old. Never really been in any kind of trouble, and I'm glad he was sent at the right time. He really was. But yep, and you right, Tanya. You never really stop being a parent, even when they grown and on their own, got their own families. You never stop being a parent. But yep, I stay in their business all the time. But yeah, I'm like, when Corey got there, like that scene when it was like 1991. He was in Attica Correctional Facility, which was 352 miles from Harlem. An adult maximum security facility. Going in there as a scared, little timid, shy, little boy who was reading at a grade school level, couldn't even read. I knew, again, before I watched part 4, that he was about to be put in a place where he's going to be attacked and abused on a regular basis. I just knew that. And so to see it all come to play out, watching part 4, and then to see those COs, that correctional officer, like, you know what, Roberts, the first CO he had, Roberts, the white dude. At first when I saw him, I'm like, this looked like a cool white dude. But real quickly, I was like, oh, this a dirty ass white dude. He wrong. He dirty. He janky. He grimy. He corrupt. I was like, what the hell? I mean, right when he got in, right from the gate, he was like, let me know if there's anything you can do for me, Corey. Let me know if there's anything you can do for me. And like, the people in prison that's supposed to protect you, they are like the last people you meet. Like, you get arrested, You go to jail. You get a lawyer or a public defender. Then you go to court. You see the judge. You get sentenced. You get shipped upstate. And once you finally get to that location where they decided to put you, the next person you generally see, after being stripped butt naked and having them make sure you ain't carrying nothing on you and throwing you them raggedy prison clothes and them flip-flops, the next person you see, which is usually like the last person you see in prison, or meet, I should say, is the CO, the person that's supposed to protect you. That's supposed to protect you from the crazy inmates in jail who be attacking, abusing, and raping people. So from the gate, he was like, is there anything you can do for me? Let me know. And basically, I guess he was like some of those, he was like some of those COs who tried to make inmates pay them with commissary money, drugs, whatever for protection. I do too. The way he looked at Corey when he told him, "Let me know if there's anything you can do for me." Corey was like, "Huh?" He said, "You know dap gone well what I'm talking about." And I think the CO probably thought Corey was trying to play dumb or trying to dumb himself down. But Corey wasn't trying to dumb himself down. He really wasn't that smart to begin with. When he got arrested and everything. But yeah, I believe so. And he was like, taking his money, taking his commissary. And then that scene when he was sitting in the chow hall and eating. And then when that dude was singing a song, and the other inmate got pissed off because he wouldn't stop singing. And then he walked up to the dude who was singing. And I guess he thought he was going to whoop off into him. He thought he was. He wasn't ready. That man singing took that tray, that food tray, and commenced to beat him all over his head with that food tray. But Corey, he like ran as far away as he can from the, commotion. And he was just in the corner shaking and crying and scared. And he looked so small. Like, he's like, where am I? Like, where am I? He probably thought he was in hell. Like, literally in hell. And that was just like the beginning. That was really hard. That was really hard to watch because I think that's when he was like, when it finally hit him, like, I might not ever get out of here. Like, I might not, like he didn't start having hope, in the beginning. He didn't have no hope in the beginning, especially when his mom wasn't visiting him. Like, his mom wasn't visiting him at all, and I get it. It was kind of far, but what do y'all think about that scene when she did come to him, and she did visit him, and she seemed to be going off on him, talking about how bad her life was? I can't come up here. It's too expensive. It's too far. You don't know what I got going on. I got a lot going on in my life and so much is going on and whoop, whoop, whoop. And he's looking at her like, with all this love in his eyes, like, it's okay, Ma. It's okay, Ma. It's okay. You here now. It's okay. I was like, what the heck? That part really hurt. Because I'm like, your son, you looking like you don't want to be there. As if he wanted to be there. As if he had planned this whole thing. As if it was his fault that he was there. And all he did was wanted to support his friend. Wanted to support his homeboy. And he ended up being convicted with the rest of them. But yeah, that was hard to watch. Because she was sitting up there like showing no compassion. Like no compassion at all. I'm like, wow, I don't know. I mean, I know it was a lot of people back in the day who were doing really bad. Shoot, our family was one of them. And I remember times when my stepdad, he had went to jail one time. And my mom couldn't get to him. She didn't have a car. She didn't even know how to drive. My mom didn't start driving until I got my license. She saw me getting my license. She was like, I'm getting mine too. But yeah, so she didn't know how to drive and to catch a bus all the way, to where he was located, so I get it. But for her to act the way she did, I thought that was so heartless and I felt so bad. I was like, wow. Wow, you in there getting messed up. I mean, getting messed up and mistreated, disrespected. And they didn't show him being sexually assaulted, but yeah. Hey, Holly. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, it was really, really hard to watch. It was really hard to watch. But you see where it turned? Where it turned with Officer Roberts, the white CO. It was after he had, got jumped. Was it Nazis? Was that who he? Yeah, it was the Nazis. I think they were in the laundry room, the laundry area, and I think it was Nazis who had jumped him, and had beat him, really, really bad. And when he came out, the infirmary, or when he went to the infirmary, remember when that lady, the black nurse, when she said there's nothing she could do, she was like, what the F you want me to do? Like, even the nurse knew that if she told him to report it, or if she took a report, that he probably would have wound up dead. And that's when, the cop was like, Roberts. It just seemed like then, he kind of started getting softer on him. Like, he started thinking about his own child, and if his own child was, in that situation, and, he would want somebody to, stand up and, be there for his own son. So then he started, he even started buying him stuff. Like, he knew the dude couldn't read, so he started buying him books. When he was in confinement, he started buying him books. He started, remember when he bought him the Chia Pet? I thought that was so nice. I mean, he bought him the Chia Pet because he was like, when I get out of prison, the first thing I'm gonna buy is one of them chia heads that grow. And C.O. Roberts was like, what the hell you talking about? A head that grows. And he was like, on the commercial it said chia. I was like, I mean, that moment right there, it was like his childlike behavior. And I'm sorry, that was funny. Even CO was cracking up. He was like, oh, okay. I gotcha. I know what commercial you're talking about. But that was probably like the most funny, the lightest part. Probably the lightest part of the whole show was when he bought him that Chia Pet. And he was all happy. He brought him some cards, taught him how to play solitary. The irony. Why he's in solitary forever. He bought him some cards. He brought him some books. And he brought him that Chia Pet. You said, oh, that's why the nurse said that. She said, what the F you want me to do? And she told him, remember when she looked out the door, and that CO, not Roberts, but the other one, the heavier set white guy, he was standing out there, and he was like sitting in the dark. You could barely see his face, but he was sitting in the dark watching her and listening. Just like when he went to the other prison. When he went to the other prison, the dreadhead. Remember the dreadhead that told him, when he first got there, he said, man, if you hate it here, all you got to do is request to be moved, request to be, transfer somewhere else. So after, he had got beat up and everything, and he talked to Officer Roberts and told him he was thinking about being transferred. And Officer Roberts was like, what? You want to be transferred? Like, I kind of wish he would have stayed there. And I think Officer Roberts even was like, okay, just because you get transferred, that don't mean it's going to be better for you. That don't mean your life is gonna be easier, and it definitely don't mean that they're gonna transfer you closer to your mom. You could wind up farther away from your mom, and that's exactly what happened. He ended up being moved farther away from his mom, like 15 miles farther upstate. So, his mom barely got to see him. She really wasn't going to be really seeing him, afterwards, after he moved. But, he moved, and then when he got there, as soon as he got there, and that guard, the black one this time, the black security guard, and you know what? I wonder if them security guards, those COs, if they ever was punished or could possibly still be punished. I wonder about that. Because the things that they did to him and caused him, like that black CO, what was his excuse? Just because he said y'all might be famous on the outside, y'all might be famous, y'all might be all over TV and in the newspaper, but basically, you know how some criminals, they do a crime and they proud of it and they act like they big and bad, and so what, I ain't scared of prison, I ain't scared of the pen, send me to the pen, I do my time, stuff like that. So I don't know if he thought that Corey was that type of a felon or that type of criminal or inmate. So when he came in, he figured, we gonna break him down. He think he all popular and, all that, and he gonna come in here and probably get some respect, and people gonna be scared of him, and, get him his cornbread. People giving him his cornbread and they commissary and snacks and stuff. So they figured they gonna break him down, and they did. They did. And almost killed him. And when I saw that CO running up to the, like Corey was screaming and stuff, and the black CO came running, I was like, okay, rescue him, get him out. I thought he was gonna help him. And then he took out his baton and was about to break off his fingers, trying to get Corey to release the cell so he can continue being attacked. I was like, oh my God. That part really had me like, I'm up here working from home, typing and watching, and I was like, trying to type and wiping my tears and snot coming down, and I'm like, I gotta give me some tissue, something. I was like, oh my God, that was really, really hard to watch. Them COs, man, they ain't shit sometimes. They ain't shit. And I was like, man, I wonder if they can be tried for those crimes that they did. This man almost lost his life. And one thing about Corey, y'all, you said that was the best part. I like when he was educating him. Yeah. He was trying to educate him. And it was like, at first, I thought he was going to be like brutally attacking him or beating on him. And he might have at a certain point, based off of what he said to Corey when he first got there. We won't know unless they release more information or, stuff like that. But I do believe in my heart that he probably sexually assaulted him, or either allowed somebody else to sexually assault him, or either knew somebody was sexually assaulting him and he just turned his head. But when he saw what the boy was going through, like that scene when his... Okay, this was another bad part for me. When he was called down to the chaplain and they told him that his brother died. Woo, y'all. Woo. I was like, When they called him down there and told him that his brother died, and then okay, y'all remember when he was having flashbacks of his brother, that one day, Corey skipped school a lot that April, and one day, when the rape happened that April in '89, and he had skipped a lot of school, and his brother had caught him. His brother, who was actually he at that time, I think he was just gay. I think at that time, And I didn't even know. Like at first, when I first saw his brother, I was like, is he gay and wanting to be a girl, or is he just a girl who is a stud? You know, a gay girl who is a stud, like the manlier one. I couldn't tell. I was like, that man, that actor that they used for Corey's brother, he looked really, really feminine. Like he looked really feminine. I couldn't tell if it was a man. I couldn't tell if it was a girl. I was like, either way, I knew it was gay. So when he said that was his brother, I'm like, dang, is it his brother? Is it his sister brother? I was confused. But then after he found out that his brother died, and you got to see the background, the backstory, you know, because his brother, when he caught him out on the streets, he was like, man, you need to go to school. You got to stay out of trouble. You know, whoopty whoop whoop whoop. And, you know, they gave each other dap and all that. And then, you know, after that, when he passed, he started having flashbacks when he was in front of the chaplain and in front of the other CO Roberts, and he started having flashbacks of his brother and how his mom kicked his brother out because he didn't fit the description of the son that she had wanted. And by then, he was trying to dress more feminine. I think he maybe even was possibly trying to be trans, or maybe that was his end goal, to trans, you know, you know what I mean, go from guy to girl. And he was wearing skirts and jewelry and makeup and all that kind of stuff. When to hear those words from his mother, you know, which is all too common back then, when, you know, parents nowadays are a little more lenient. They might not still understand. They might not still agree with your behavior. I mean, not your behavior, but your lifestyle or who you want to sleep with. But back then, oh, hell no. Especially if you lived in the hood, you lived in the projects, and you got a son who is gay. And like she was saying, you didn't cost me to lose friends. You didn't cost me to lose customers, because she was slanging too. Slanging out of that project or wherever she was. And calling him all kind of names, demons. And she called him crazy. Told him he needed to be locked up. I mean, just real mean. Just real mean. And Corey was sitting there like, no, that scene was kind of hard, but what I liked the most about that scene was, remember when they was walking down the street and Corey had got caught by his brother, you know, skipping school, and he was looking around, and Corey was like, why everybody keep looking at you like that? Why everybody keep looking at you crazy or funny, or like, why are they looking at you like that? And his brother said, they just blind, Corey. They just blind. They didn't see what Corey saw, which was just a human being just trying to do what they do, trying to be themselves, trying to, you know, live their life, living their best life. And they didn't see what Corey's brother saw in himself. You know what I mean? He probably felt like he was supposed to be a woman. Probably felt like he was supposed to be born a woman and was feminine. He probably felt like a woman. But he was saying they blind. They don't see what we see. And I thought that was really, 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 that was deep. That was really deep. Because Corey had no problems with his brother at all. At all. He loved his brother. Loved his brother to death. But the mom couldn't accept it, and therefore, you know, they ended up arguing, fighting. She put him out. That was the last time Corey saw his brother. That was the last time. As his mom said, the brother that's trying to be your sister, that was the last time he saw her. And the brother's name was Norman. But once he started trans, he was going by Marcy. And you saw how the mom was like, I be damned. I'm not calling you no Marcy. I wish I would call you Marcy. Shoot, you wasn't born Marcy. And then like again, like the same way she was in prison uh telling him, how hard she's having it. This is a long trip. I ain't got no money. Things are hard. You don't know what I'm going through. Da 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 da. She was saying the same thing to his brother. You don't know nothing about being a parent. You don't know nothing about raising kids by yourself. You don't know nothing. He said, I might not know all of that. I might not know how to be a real woman. But I know you sad. And you in a sad excuse for a mother. And then that was the last time he saw Corey. And he hugged him and told him make sure he stay out of trouble. Promise he stay out of trouble. And then like soon after that he ended up, in prison. And he didn't see his brother after that. He didn't and then like I guess when she had came to visit the first time and he had asked her, did you tell my brother? Did you tell my brother? Is he gonna come visit me? Could you please have him come visit me? She was like, I ain't doing that. She didn't even tell the brother to visit him. Like, okay, you don't want nothing to do with your gay son, but you don't even want to tell him to come visit his brother who really loves him. I thought that was kind of messed up. You said tying that part, I can't figure his angle. You said, I like when he was educated for the world and was the dread guy being insecure, setting him up. I want to, I thought about that. I did. I thought about that because, like, right after the dread told him, it might be best if you just transfer. I don't know. I kind of think just because of his demeanor, I kind of think he wasn't trying to set him up. I mean, it crossed my mind, but I don't know. That's just what I thought. I don't think he was trying to set him up. I think he actually, if he would have stayed there, they probably would have been really good friends because he just seemed friendly. He didn't, and as the way the story went, from the Central Park Five, the story is from their point of view, from their angle mostly, especially the time spent in the pen. And it didn't show, I didn't see any signs of any, like, him being a snake or anything like that, but I don't know. But yeah, that was crazy. But the white CO Roberts, after that he started treating him better, gave him a job, told him he promised that he would not allow him to be attacked by the Nazis. He got him that job and promised as long as he's around, you will not be attacked by the Nazis. That's why I'm like, dang, if he would have only stayed there, I think things would have went better for him. But, can't never say. But yeah, when he got to the other prison, it seemed, boy, I don't know how many times he got jumped or how many times he got attacked, after those few times. But when he saw Mateus, when he saw him the first time in that first prison, when they had gotten a fight over the TV, and when he saw him the next time in the next prison, and he walked up to him and he was like, "Hey, yo, you don't remember me? Mateus Reyes from upstate, the TV room, the fight." And he was like, "Oh yeah, I remember you." And I guess he thought Mateus wanted trouble, but Mateus was like, "I want to apologize for my actions. I was wrong. I shouldn't have done that." And he said, "Do you accept my apology?" And, not holding no grudges, Corey, the sweet person that he is, even after enduring everything that he went through, he still was sweet on the inside and kind. And he accepted his apology, but he told him, "Man, don't be trying to put me in church." He was like, "Do you go to church? Do you believe in God? Do you believe in Jesus?" He was like, "Yeah, but I'm don't be trying to get me up in church." But after I watched this and then I read stories and interviews and all that kind of stuff, Mateus was actually trying to get him into church because he said, "I see you have a lot of faith in you." And he had been through a lot. Like, Corey had been through a lot. And he still had some hope there. In the beginning, When he first came in, he probably thought he was going to die there. But around that time, it was like, you know what, it seemed like things were a little better for him in prison. And even though he kept turning down after so many parole hearings, he was like, I'm not even going to waste my time going back up for parole hearing because they don't want to hear my truth. They keep telling me that they want me to confess. They want me to take responsibility for the crime, for the rape. And I'm not going to do it. And that is a strong person. Like, that is a strong person. All the stuff. He was beat. He was stabbed. Almost murdered in prison. Like, jumped on many occasions. And almost murdered. They didn't think he was going to make it. And then he still was telling them, every time he went up for hearing, parole hearing, I ain't going to confess. I'm not going to admit to something I didn't do. I just serve out the rest of my sentence. That is a strong person. Like, dude couldn't even read when he went to prison. So, I gotta get him that, man. I don't know if I could have done it. I'm for real. I probably would have been like, after getting stabbed, attacked, sexually assaulted, all kind of other stuff. The COs is out to get me. The inmates is out to get me. The government don't believe me. My mama ain't come seeing me. No letters, no phone calls, no nothing. All because I was trying to be a good friend to a friend who was being arrested. I don't know if I could have been like, have 2, 3, 4 hearings and then I'm not confessing. I don't know. I don't know. That's a very strong young man. Like, really, really, really. I have to give it up to him for that. That was, boy, crazy. Hey, the SS fam, how you doing? You said, how about when Corey was fighting a dude about, when he was fighting Mateus about the TV, he wanted to listen to that DMX while he was cleaning. Because in one of the interviews that I read about Corey, the guards or the COs, some of the COs and some of the guards, people who knew him back then, they said hip hop was his life. And even now, he said everywhere he goes, he keep like some headphones in his ear, or you see at the end how he has some beats, them loud headphones. My kids got them some beats. And he's dressed in all hip hop and, listen to hip hop music. He said that's what got him through. That's what helped get him through was hip hop music. You saw when he was watching SWV on the, they was real big back then. SWV, Sisters with Voices. They was real big back then. He was watching DMX, That's what got him through. And so when Mateus came in there and turned that TV down, and he was trying to listen to the D to the M to the X. Shoot, he wasn't having that. But see, that's another point. I'm glad you brought that up, Holly, because that's another point. When you could tell that C.O. Roberts, his heart has softened towards him. Instead of calling him Central Park, because when he came to prison, Corey was called Central Park by the COs and probably by some of the inmates too. They called him Central Park for the Central Park 5. And then, after CO Roberts started softening up to him, he started calling him Kid. And Corey was like, I really, really like when you call me Kid. Because he was a kid. He was a kid. And he was being treated like an animal. And dehumanized. Disrespected. All that, from the time they went downtown to, that present time when he was in prison. So you can really see right there, how he had a, change of heart with I was about to call him his new name. His new name is Carey. His name back then was Corey Wise. But yeah, that was a trip. And then he told him, he was so pissed. He was like, dude, you in here fighting? You in here fighting over a TV? And you got parole hearing tomorrow? Now your eye busted up, you black and blue and purple, and you about to go in here and tell these people that you to learn your lesson, that you ready to go home, that you not a troublemaker, that you a good person now, and your eye sticking out like this. So, I could tell right then that C.O. Roberts was really trying to, from then on, try to protect him, or I wouldn't necessarily say father him, even though he said he thought about his son, and started treating him better, once he thought about his son and everything. Hey, Miss Naturally Nolens, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in for our review. Part 4. But yeah, so but then, he met Mateus again later, and right after that, he got another phone call. And he actually thought, since they said go see the chaplain again, that it was another death in the family. And he even thought it was probably his mom. But when he got on the phone and realized it was his mom and she wasn't dead, he immediately got happy because he never really got to see his mom anymore. And that's when she told him, somebody confess. And so, again, just from what I saw and what I read, different stories and interviews, Mateus, the one who really did the crime, when he was asking him, ask him, forgive him, he was trying to right his wrongs then, but, he was going to church in prison, but he was going to church, and I think he was trying to right his life then. Because we later found out that that the reason why he was in prison was because he had raped and murdered somebody else. And that lady was pregnant. And then when they said he poked her eyeballs out with a butter knife, all this while her kids was in the other room sleep. Ah, man. I guess he was like, you know what? I'm probably going to be here for life. I'm trying to get my life together, go to church, try to make it to heaven. So he just, had a change of heart. And when he realized that Corey was still in there, he was like, man, you still telling everybody you innocent? And Corey was like, what's it to you? And then the next thing we know, he was being released, but y'all, how y'all feel about those? Lord, let's talk about this. How y'all feel about Prosecutor Linda and that detective, the head detective? After Mrs. Bryant had got the case, after Mateus came down there and said not came down there, but he asked to come in and speak to someone because he admitted to the rape and everything. After they explained everything to Mrs. Bryant, the lady with the black hair at the end, and told her the case is now yours, they went back and they did an investigation on the investigation. They did an investigation on the entire investigation, from beginning to ending, every DNA sample, every testimony, every confession tape, every statement. And even years later, Corey was in prison for 14 years. Even 14 years later, they could see that with their eyes, just like everybody else, that them boys was innocent. They was innocent. She's trying to tell the detective, the head detective at the time, and Prosecutor Linda, like, how could y'all let those boys go to prison for this crime? And they talking about, oh, well, we said back then it probably was another guy. That's why we couldn't find no DNA. That's why the sperm didn't match. That's why, the cervical swab, they couldn't find no hairs. They couldn't find no blood. They couldn't find no saliva. They couldn't find nothing. And this lady was bleeding all over her clothes when they saw them in court. Her white clothes were black from blood and mud. She was just drenched in blood because she bled out. I think they said she lost 75% or more of her blood, lying there. And y'all let these boys go to prison and they still up there defending themselves. They really, really convinced themselves that they was right. And thank you, SS. I just saw you shared this live on your community page. Thank you so much. And everybody, please make sure you do hit the like button. Thank you so much. But they were actually convinced. And I still don't think they were convinced. I still, to this day, don't think they were convinced that they were right. They knew they were wrong. And that man, if he wasn't acting prejudiced, even years later, once he was older and they told him, about the new evidence, the new person that came and testified and said he did everything on his own, by himself, without any help. He didn't even know those 5 boys from Adam. Well, of course he knew Corey because he met him, when they got in a fight in the TV room at the first prison they met at. But he didn't know any of those boys, and none of them boys knew him. And they still was up there. That white man, boy, he had me so mad, y'all. He had me so mad. I was like, look at this, boy, this, ooh. I think I made up some words for him. I made up some words from him. He was like, you know what? I knew what I was taught to do, and I did what was expected from me. And they went to prison. They deserved it. Didn't nobody make them say what they say. Didn't nobody coerce them. Didn't nobody, but looking at the new detectives, the new, people doing the investigators, the new prosecutor, all them looking at all those tapes, all those statements, and they saw right through the BS. Through everything. And they still was up there defending themselves. And that one, the Linda, the prosecutor, she wrote all them doggone books and got rich and famous, writing all these books about being a prosecutor. All the years she was being a prosecutor. So all that time they up here writing books, living good, prosperous, having families, making money, all that kind of stuff, while these 5 boys was left in prison, with Corey being, the last one. But yeah, I was like, wow. You would think, I would want, shoot, some of the income they received over all these years, especially her from them doggone books, to pay some of that money to the settlement. Shoot, some of their money should have went to the settlement that the 5 men received. Shoot, he was like, justice was fucking served. It was fucking served. I was like, they full of shit. They full of shit. It's people like those that you gotta be scared of. It's people like those, people like them, people like those COs, people like those cops. I mean, the judges. Everybody was wrong in this whole situation. The best part of this, of course, was when Mateus, said he did it. He did it. He knew everything about everything. Everything about everything. While the main detective was like, they confessed. They knew something. They had to know something. They were in the park. They might not have known details. They might not have known locations. And you saw where the body was, where she was found. And you saw the drag marks because, he hit her real hard over the back of her head with a branch. And that's when, she started bleeding out. And so when he dragged her off the path and dragged her 200 feet into the woods, all that blood, it was a nice amount of blood just trailing to where he killed her. I mean, where he ended up raping her. And then he hit her with a brick. All that blood was there. Did you see that boy walking away with her headphones? He picked up her head after he raped her, beat her over the head with some bricks. The same things they said the Central Park 5 did. Everything they said they did, Mateus really did. And he beat her over the head with a brick, raped her, left her for dead, and then he left. He had blood from his head to his feet. Her blood from his head to her feet. And when they found her, the sixth person that they kept saying had to been there, like Linda, the prosecutor from back then, she was like, oh, well, I told you it had to be a sixth person. They probably all beat her. They probably did, beat her and dragged her. And then they run off to leave Mateus to rape her. Really? That didn't even make sense. all the DNA that was found, all the sperm that was found, they said her body had Matea's DNA on her. He had her blood on him from head to foot. She had his DNA on her from head to foot, even in her fingernails. She tried to bite him. She had his DNA everywhere. Everywhere. These cops, for 12 years, they had a chance to get those boys out of jail, out of prison. They had a chance. But instead, they coerced them into making false statements. They did no details. They did no locations. There was no dragging marks near where the boys were found. No blood. No nothing. They kept them there for 42 hours straight with no bathroom breaks, no food, no water, no parents. And he was up there talking about the detective. I knew what I was taught to do and what he was asked to do. And I did what they asked me to do, which was basically pin that crime on them boys. That's what they did. And that's what they did. Something should be done. Like, something should have been done to them. Like, how they just get off like that? I mean, how can they just walk away like that and not have anything done to them? Like, yeah, the city had to cough up $40 million, $41 million, but I don't get it. I don't get it. Just like the COs, I think that they should have been punished as well, but that's our government, y'all. That's our system. That's our system. They went on living a nice little cushy, bougie lives, writing books and turning into authors and everything, while those boys were suffering for years in prison, especially Corey Wise. But anywho, they was finally released after Mateus came forward. They were finally released. It was the 13th year in prison. When Corey met Mateus for the second time. It was his 13th year in prison when Corey met Mateus the second time. And that was when their lives changed. All those men convicted of the rape of Tricia Mealy, basically their past was vacated. Everything, the courts, they vacated the case. They vacated their sentence. They made it seem like they never was arrested. That's what vacate means. Vacate means it just disappeared. Nobody besides, like, if they were to probably move to another country or something like that, I mean, it would never be on a record. It'll be on people here probably still recognize them, where they live. A lot of them moved away. Some of them moved to Georgia. I think Antron moved to Maryland, and then a few of them moved to Georgia. But it was just a coincidence. It was just a coincidence. They were like, if they probably wouldn't have been at the prison. Like, if Mateus wouldn't have got transferred to the prison where Corey was at that time, they said Mateus would have probably never confessed. He probably would have took that to his grave. But because of the fact that he ran into him at prison and he saw him, and he immediately felt guilty because this man has served 13 years for a crime that Mateus actually committed. So it was like, the guilt was eating him up because at that time he was going to church, reading his Bible, praying and all that, and going around asking other people, do you know Jesus? He was being like a... I don't want to see like a Jehovah Witness or something in the prison or something, going around trying to get people saved and sanctified and filled with the Holy Spirit. And his conscience was eating him up. And that's when he was like, he went and he told, what he did. So it was just by the grace of God that they ran into each other again. Everybody else had been already released by that time. Corey was the only one in there, and he had more time to serve, and he was going to serve that time because he was like, I'm not about to confess to anything just so I can get parole early. I'm not confessing to anything, because that would have still been on his record. And once he got out of jail, he would have to register as a sex offender, just like the other guys had to register as a sex offender. And then it would be on his record. And just like the other guys, they had a hard time getting jobs and all that before they, found work. And he was like, bump that. I didn't do it. So, And the thing about it is, once he got out, he would have still had to register and all that stuff. But his life afterwards would have still been him, trying to get his life back. But he never once said he did it. So it was still him pleading innocent, just like the other guys. They served their time. They got out, started their lives over, but they still never pleaded guilty to what they knew they didn't do. So he was like, I just served the rest of my time. But yep, the judge vacated, their arrest and the trial, the whole thing. It was just thrown out, disappeared, just written off the books, tore the papers out, ripped the papers out, whited it all out. It was just gone. So their record is clean. They got paid $41 million. They had to split it between themselves, of course. Corey got the most amount of, obviously, everything he went through and being tried as an adult, sent to that prison. I think they deserve more than that. And I'm sure they probably did. I'm sure they probably started high. Like, they got 41 million. So, they lawyers probably started at maybe 300 million, 400 million. They always start real high, and then they, go back and forth and negotiate and all that, and probably came to $41 million. But, they got something out of it. There's no amount of money. There's no amount of money to make up for what any of them went through, especially Corey. There's no amount of money to make up for what they did. They can't get they can't buy their life back. They can't buy their time back. They can't, erase those wounds, those assaults, those, attacks and stuff like that. But they got something out of it, and that's the least the government could do. That's the least they could do. After everything that was done to them, that was the least they can do. So, the real rapist and attacker, Mateus Reyes, in 2002, Mateus Reyes, a convicted murderer and serial rapist in prison, confessed to raping the Central Park jogger. DNA evidence confirmed his guilt. He knew all the facts about the crime, and he was the only offender who could have known all that information. He also said he committed the rape alone, totally by himself. And at the time of confession, he was already serving a life sentence for, raping and murdering that other lady. So he was already serving a life sentence, started getting his life right with God, whatever. And, he was like, hey, I'm in here for life. I might as well tell him I did it. So, but, because of Patricia Mealy, so much time had passed, so the statute of limitations had passed by the time he confessed. But still, he was serving life anyway. So, I'm sure some of the things that, some of the boys went through, I'm sure Mateus probably went through some of that same stuff too. I don't think anybody deserves to be treated like that, even if they do something horrible like that. Some people probably feel, oh yeah, you should be raped, you should be taken advantage of, assaulted, beaten, stoned to death, stuff. Some people do believe stuff like that. I just believe, two wrongs don't make a right. I firmly believe that. But anywho, the judge, Morgenthau, he suggested to the court that the 5 men's convictions related to the assault and rape of Mealy and to the attacks on other people to which they had confessed be vacated. A legal position in which I was explaining before, where the parties are treated as though no trial ever took place. They withdrew all their trials, their convictions, everything, and their charges was vacated in 2002. The five convicted men, they ended up suing New York City in 2003, a year later, for malicious prosecution, racial discrimination, emotional distress. The city refused to settle the suits for a decade until Mayor Michael Bloomberg, because the city's lawyers felt they would win. However, after Bill de Blasio became mayor, so it wasn't until they got a new mayor, and he supported the settlement. So the city settled for $41 million in 2014. And the five men, they were pursuing an additional $52 million in damages from New York State and the New York court systems. So, they still trying to get more money because, again, $41 million. Between all of them, it was like $1 million a year, approximately. And once they split it, it was approximately $1 million a year. That's not enough. I'm sorry, that's just not enough. Shoot. They should be on their payroll to the day they die, and they children, and they children's children, and they cheering. Shoot, in my Bernie back voice, they cheering. Should be, on their payroll too. Shoot, getting money for the rest of their lives. They just what was done with them was just so horrible and despicable. I mean, just immoral. Just. But anyway, they finally out. And again, I saw some of the interviews and stuff, and you see, the one thing about it is, they, after, all being, having everything vacated, they all, went on with their lives. They have families. Some of them open up businesses. Some of them is advocates, for innocent victims. One for sure, Corey, he set up a foundation. He had gave like over $100,000 to this organization that assists people who, plead innocent to crimes that they know they didn't commit. So, a lot of them is giving back to the community. Yusef, he's working, in the same type of area, for innocent people. So they're all doing something, good with their lives. They could have came out and they could have, like, even Santana, Raymond Santana, he had got out and then he had went back in, because he started slinging drugs, trying to get out of his dad's house and get him and his girlfriend their own place because of how he was being treated by his stepmama sister. I call her stepmama sister because they looked like they was almost the same age. His dad, he got a young one. He had got a young one. And so, Raymond, he wanted to hurry up and get out of the home. He ended up getting arrested, but he got out. They all seem to be doing, as well as can be expected, and some of them even better after going through all what they went through. So, we can thank God for that. You said which mayor approved it? Oh, the first mayor didn't approve it. The first mayor after they first had got out, it was Michael Bloomberg. And then after you just put a comment under the video? Under this video, Miss Naturally Nolans? Let me see. Hold on, because I don't have the video up right now. Let me see. You're talking to Donna. Okay, let me see here. Was you talking to me or were you talking to Donna, Miss Naturally? But yeah, the mayor who agreed with the lawsuit and who basically agreed that the guys should be able to sue and should be, issued a settlement, that was Mayor Bill de Blasio. I think I'm saying that right. If not, please correct me. but I think it's pronounced Bill de Blasio. De Blasio. Oh, okay, okay. But yeah, De Blasio, that's his name. That's the one. He supported the settlement and he agreed that they should be, paid. And of course, I couldn't believe for a decade the old mayor was like, But you know how the government is. Shoot, they be trying to stiff their pockets with the money that should be going to our schools and our streets and our communities and to our, inner city youth and parks and recreations and swimming pools and da 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 da. They be trying to put that money in their own pocket. They knew they deserved that settlement and more. So I'm glad once the new mayor came along, he agreed and he supported the settlement. So the case was settled for $41 million in 2004, but they were asking for an additional $52 million in damages, would equal over $2 million for each of them per year. So yeah, that sounds more like it to me. Sure. Sounds more like it to me. But yep, so here you go. That was number 4, y'all. That was number 4. That boy, part 1, 2, and 3 had me on an emotional roller coaster, up and downs, But part 4, I was like drained. I was emotionally drained myself, after watching part 4. So I was like, I hope I can do this review without getting emotional. And trust me, certain times over this last hour, I've been getting emotional. I'm just trying to hide it from y'all because that was really, really hard. I'm like, how am I going to get through this review without getting emotional and crying? Because I literally cried through all of part 4. Like, literally cried through all of part 4. I was like, I got to keep this together. Whew, I got to put on my poker face. Keep this together. So yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed the 4-part documentary of the Central Park 5. You said, oh, he was the mayor that gave the okay. Yep. He might be running for Yep. Shoot. And based off of that, shoot, he might get a lot of votes. Shoot. He might get a lot of votes. But yeah, so I hope you guys really enjoyed that. That was awesome sauce. And I'm glad they all got out and had everything vacated so they can literally not just try to put their lives back together, but they can move on with everybody knowing they're innocent and not looking at them crazy and scrutinizing them and judging them and still calling them rapists. And, so I'm really glad, about that. And y'all, I don't know if y'all saw my breaking news report earlier. I'm sure most of y'all know by now. Malia Davis' body, it was confirmed. That was her body in Arkansas in that bag along the side of the road. Exactly in the area where it was said that her mother's ex had put the body. So ooh, that was that boy. I felt so bad. I feel so bad. It's so much going on in this world. It's so much going on. Yeah, I did a live on that earlier, Miss Norland. I had to take a lunch break to do that breaking news report for you guys. I had to. So yeah, I did about a 30-minute breaking news report earlier today. I was actually working. This was a little bit after I had just watched that show. So just imagine the emotional ride I just got off of from watching part 4 of, When They See Us. And then I see that the body that they found, the child body that they found, the remains, was Malia's. I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. But yep, I got myself together and dust myself off and brought y'all that breaking news earlier. So please check that out if y'all haven't already watched my breaking news earlier about Malia Davis. Please make sure you check that out as well. We will be continuing conversation regarding Malia probably tomorrow night. I'm gonna call Samantha, who I do who I do commentary with on the Hood Table channel, our other channel. You know, we do commentary over there together. And I think I want to do it over there on the Hood Table. A lot of y'all know about the Hood Table, but for y'all who don't, the Hood Table is my other channel. And me and my sister friend, or my sister friend and I, we collaborate on that channel together with, you know, breaking news, trending news, you know, stuff like that. We do movie reviews. We don't do TV or reality show reviews over there. I do that over here. But over there, we do movie reviews. You know, like once a month or once every other month, we go watch a movie. I know Samantha hit me up, and she says she wants to see, what's that movie with Michael Ealy? Intruder? Yeah, she wants to go see Intruder, and she wants to do a review of that on the Hood Table. So that movie, if y'all haven't seen Intruder, make sure y'all check that out with Michael Ealy. I actually heard mixed reviews about that, and me, I'm always that one. I gotta go see it for myself. And if I didn't like it, at least I can enjoy me some good old movie popcorn. And whoever I'm with, we can talk trash about the movie. Because when we watch a movie that's trash, Sam be like, I can't wait to do the review. I can't wait to tell these people how horrible that movie was. But yeah, she's a hoot. If some of y'all probably met Samantha because we done some videos on this channel together. But if you go over to the Hood Table, which is D-A Hood, H-O-O-D, Table, T-A-B-E, we have some other reviews over there and movie reviews and whatnot over there on the Hood Table. And I'm also going to put let me just look up the link for the Hood Table real quick. I'm going to put the link in, and all you have to do is click on the link that I'm about to put in the chat, and click on the link, and it'll take you right over to the Hood Table. So let me put that in here real quick. Okay. All right, here's the chat. Okay, I'm putting a link to my other channel where I collaborate with my sister friend. It's called The Hood Table. Hey, Elizabeth, welcome to the live. So that link that I just put in there, make sure you guys click that link and hit subscribe, and make sure you hit the bell. That is the Hood Table. That's my other channel. It's your it's more of an urban version. That's the best way I can describe it. More of an urban version of the Red Table. And the Red Table is a show on Facebook by what is her name? Oh God, dang, it just lost me. Jada Pinkett Smith, Will Smith's wife. So, you know, our table is like the urban version of, you know, not so bougie and proper and, you know, controlled, as I would say. So it's two sister friends from the hood who grew up in the hood, who survived the hood and raised their children by themselves. And we've been friends for many, 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 many years. And we decided to collaborate. And when we thought of names, I was like, I love the Red Table. I love Jada Pinkett Smith, the Red Table. They have some great stories over there. And so I was like, what about if we switch it up and name it the Hood Table? And not the. They got the Red Table. We got the Hood Table. So, you know, the lid is like the Red Table with an edge to it, you know. So that's us. So anyway, and you guys, I want to again show my appreciation for everybody who's been running my playlist, to the bigger YouTubers who have been sharing my content on their channels, like Michelle ATL and Brown. You guys, if you don't know about Michelle ATL and Brown, she got like 3 channels, I believe, and she got her own website and everything. That is like the person where you get all your tea about the Real Housewives. You know, she's really close to some of the housewives, especially Nene. Nene Leaks, you know. So I get a lot of my tea from her when I'm doing my housewives reviews, you know, besides, you know, online and on blogs and watching the show. You know, Michelle Alien, no, I'm telling y'all, Michelle A.T. Alien Brown. But yeah, she's somebody who, you know, she's very supportive, and I love her. I love her channel. I love her personality. I love everything about her. Miss Gina, Queen of Talk. She's also one of my favorites. Ms. MZ Gina, Queen of Talk. And it's a lot of other bigger YouTubers that has been supporting me. And you guys, a lot of you guys have been supporting me and running my playlist. And we have, after today, I have 2 more days. I have a couple of 100 hours left. I'm constantly got people running my playlist, checking out my videos, sharing my videos on their platform. So I just want to show my appreciation and tell you guys thank you. I really, 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 really appreciate it. And there's several of you that have been like running my playlist like crazy, and I've been running y'all playlist like crazy. Donna is one of them in the chat. Miss Naturally New Orleans is one of them in the chat. I appreciate it. My family and friends calling me, hitting me up on Facebook. How many more hours you need? Okay. I'm about to start watching some videos right now. I really, really love the support, and I really love to be supported because we all here for the same goal. In the end, we're all here in the same goal, and that's to grow our channels. So, you know, let's keep it up. You guys. Let's keep it up, and hopefully by the end of the week, I'll be telling you guys, I made it to 4K. Hopefully by the end of the week. You said, do they still show Bad Girls Club? Bad Girls Club. You mean Good Girls? I don't know about Bad Girls, but Good Girls, I was doing reviews on the Good Girls. I don't know about the Bad Girls Club, though. I don't know about that one. But yes. So let's keep it up, folks. Because in the end, we all want that coins, right? We all want our coinage. We ain't no longer on YouTube just to be playing around and lollygagging. We trying to get our coinage. Because technically speaking, you know, we entertain people. We provide people with entertainment. Some of us daily. Some of us 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day. And so, you know, we would like to get a little coinage, you know. Hey, just like, you know, how they say it. You know, I used to look at people crazy when they say YouTube is just like Hulu, Netflix, cable. People pay all them to get entertainment. But more people be on YouTube. More people watch YouTube than they watch Netflix, Hulu, cable. It just is what it is. Am I right? Am I right? So yeah, Sade said Bad Girls Club being gone. Donna, I think I kind of remember Bad Girls Club. I kind of remember, but yeah, Sade said, or is it Sade? I think it's Sade, but if I'm wrong, let me know if I'm wrong. But yeah, they said Bad Girls Club being gone. So thank you. I appreciate you guys. See, Donna, I really think I remember it. I just think it was one of those shows that I probably just didn't pay too much attention to. But I do think I remember the Bad Girls Club. But, yep. So, I'm going to wrap this live up. I got a few hours before I have to pick up my youngest son from work. And I think my oldest son wants me to take him over his girlfriend's house. I can't wait till he get his car Friday. He picked out a car, but they had to put, you know, some work into it. Nothing super major. It needed alignment and the brakes. But the car is like, it seemed like it's in perfect condition. It's only a few years old. Beautiful car. Matter of fact, when you walk up to the car, it unlocks. You know, it's one of those newer cars where you have the keys in your pocket, and once you get so close to the car, it just automatically unlocks. My son kept playing with it at the car lot. He kept seeing how far away he can be with the key unlocking the door. I was like, boy, come on. That car still be here. They're going to fix it up and hook it up for you. And we'll be back for it this weekend. So I cannot wait because I'm tired of being Mama Uber. But yes, but anywho, y'all, thanks so much. Yes, yes, thanks so much. Everybody have a blessed night. I hope everybody had a blessed Monday. Again, I hope everybody enjoyed the story of the Central Park Five. And if somebody just came into the chat tonight and have not seen my other reviews, 1 through 3, make sure you check those out too. Watch them in order, just like the TV show. Make sure you watch the reviews in order, and share them out, y'all. Share them out. I'm trying to get my last couple of 100 hours within the next few days, so I can be eligible to get reviewed for get monetized. So make sure you guys share them out. Like the video, please. Don't forget to like the video. And thanks so much for tuning in tonight. And as usual, Prime Time Squad, my primes, stay safe, be blessed, and I'm out. Deuces. Good night.